Hello and welcome to Mr. Barton's autograph video number 26. Now apologies for my dodgily sounding deep voice, I've got a bit of a sore throat today, but hopefully you can still hear what I'm banging on about. Right, so last week we had a look at two ways that you might like to tackle straight lines on autograph. I'm going to follow on from that by looking at parallel and perpendicular lines. So I am in standard mode as usual. I don't like the look of this key. I'm going to hover to the bottom, right click and get rid of show key, and I am going to construct a line using the second method from last week, which is by using 2 points. So I'm over here, I'm in point mode. I'll pop a point there at 1, 1 and I'll pop a point there at -1, -1. I'm going to need to select those 2 points. I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but if you ever want to select 2 or more points and you can't be bothered using shift and all that, as long as you're in select mode, you can just simply drag round both those points, or however many points and objects you've got, and they're both selected. So if I right click now, then somewhere near the bottom I should get straight line. Now that is a thin, scrawny, pathetic looking line, so let's thicken that up a bit. I'm going to click on it, it goes black, and let's go to number 3. Much better. And we can get the students to say what the equation of that line is, and then once they've got their head around that, we can mark it on using our text box. So let's click on it, it goes black, let's go text box. I think I'll call it line 1, a little colon, and I like a nice ice blue font. Very nice, there we go. Now just like we looked at last week, if you move that point, the equation of the line changes. Okay, let's get ourselves a parallel line. So what I need to tell autograph is a point that I'd like the line to go through, so I'm going to pop it there at 2, 0. That point is selected, so if I go back into select mode and hold down shift, and I also click on the line itself, and if I right click, then somewhere near the bottom I get parallel line. Scrawny and pathetic again, let's click on it and thicken it up a bit. Now I can get the students to work out and predict what the equation of that line is, and then I can get autograph to show me. So I'm going to click on that. I am going to click text box, and oh nice, it's already called parallel line. That's a good name for it. And again, let's go ice blue, and there we go. Now what I can do now is I can move this point, which shifts the parallel line out a bit, and notice how the equation of the line changes, which is really handy if you are studying the equations of straight line graphs. And likewise, I can still move the point on the red line, and again notice how both things shift. So that's really handy when you're investigating y equals mx+c. And again, for your older students, perhaps for the GCSE ones, we can also have a study of perpendicular lines. So again, similar thing, I just need a point. So let's whiz one here at -1, 1. That point's selected. I'll just come out of select mode. I just hit escape there on the keyboard. Hold down shift, click on my red line, right click, and near the bottom I have perpendicular line. Let's thicken it up a bit. Let's go down here to number 3, and there's my perpendicular line. Now again, I can get the students to try and work out the equation of that line, and there is a gradient function on autograph that we are going to look at in future weeks, or get the old-fashioned scribble tool out and get them actually scribbling and drawing a right angle triangle and working out how far down and across it goes and all that kind of stuff. Incidentally, if you want to get rid of all your scribbles, just go up to the top, edit, select all scribbles, and then I just hit delete on the keyboard and they've gone. So they've worked out the equation of that line. Let's just check it. So highlight that, text box, look at that perpendicular line, the perfect label for me, ice blue, okay, and there it is. But what's really nice is when you want to investigate the relationship between the equations of lines that are perpendicular, you've got the perfect facility here, because you can move these lines around and compare the gradients, maybe write them down. You can shift the perpendicular line around and keep an eye on the gradient. And, oh sorry, I don't know what that is, I've double clicked there. And it's just a nice way, especially if you record each of these gradients down and get the students to see if there's a relationship between -0.75 and 1.3 and between 1 and -1, then it's a nice way for them to discover that when you multiply the gradients of perpendicular lines together, it comes to -1. Anyway, I'm going to have a glass of water. Hope that was useful, and take care, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.